Facebook. Boom! I'm back. It's Thursday, July. I don't know why I didn't actually go anywhere. It's Thursday, July 22nd. It's a little bit before 8 o'clock Pacific Coast time. I'm still in my weird trailer. It's dark in here, but that's okay. Almost always when I shoot arrow, I don't actually spend a lot of time in here. I get changed and I come in and I eat my lunch and I nap for 20 minutes because the people that run the show are so on point. So when I come here, I go straight to set and I work, and then when I'm done, I leave. Every once in a while, I'm in here for like 8 hours. Not because the people that run the show are off point or organize the day, as the case may be, but just because shit happens. It's a TV show. We have to break stuff, and you never know. So I thought I'd do a Q&A because I don't need a reason. One more thing before we get started. Last year I shot the Q&As in the vertical mode and I got made fun of. Now I'm going over to the landscape mode. I can't tell if I'm looking into the lens. And it's messing with my feng shui. Just a little, not a lot. I hope the Q&A doesn't suffer. But here we go. I posted this 14 minutes ago. A lot of questions. Here we go. Rico Lynch, will there be an Arrow video game? I hope so. I didn't pick that question at random. 400 people liked it. So I think that that's an indication that there would be an appetite for such a game. Doing the Arrow voice in Injustice Gods Among Us was a complete and utter accident. I had never heard the video game. Forgive me if I've told this story before. But my buddy Nick called me up. Nick's the gamer. Told me all about the game, the series, and was like, are you voicing Green Arrow? And I'm like, I don't know. So I phoned Jeff Johns at DC and said, possibly emailed, and said, can I voice Green Arrow? And he said, will you? And I said, of course. Why would you have anybody else do it? Are you crazy? And then they came up to Vancouver. I did it. It was really fun. Retrospectively, I'm not a huge fan of the fact that Green Arrow is lying possibly dead on the cover of the video game, but nonetheless, it was awesome. I would love to do more video games in the future, and if there was an actual Arrow game, I hope this doesn't erode my bargaining power if they decide to actually do it, but I would love to do it. Of course I would. Always. Heidi Estland Hackler wants to know, how many hours a day do you train? Not that much. I trained for an hour this morning. This guy named Charles at the gym that I go to in Vancouver. I like Charles. This is my first time ever training with Charles. I train with like a rotating cast of people. The thing I liked about Charles, aside from the fact that it was an excellent training session, was that he was kind of little. And he was a fan of Arrow. So because like any trainer can be 6'5", they're probably bad at training. The fact that Charles was a little more on the slender side, I'm like, this guy must be super smart. And then when we were warming up, he told me that he was a fan of the show, which immediately raises my competitive level. And so I had to try to kill it throughout our circuit training. It was good. I'm going to be really sore tomorrow. Nick Anderson, that's a very easy name to pronounce. What part of the season are you most excited about? I'm excited for the episodes that aren't my flashbacks, because I get like a day off or two. That might be a little bit too much truth, but at this point in time, that is what I'm most excited about. Other than that, just people seeing the episodes. That's always where the rubber hits the road for me. People seeing the episodes. Jason Berg, what's your biggest guilty pleasure? I don't believe in guilty pleasures. Mustafa said, Yeren, will we see Ra's al Ghul in this season? I get why people post questions that would cause me to say a full spoiler for the show and put me in direct conflict with the people that employ me. And I get why people like those questions, but I'm never going to answer them. I just thought it was cool last year when I said Ra's al Ghul's name. That was enough for me. Mark Stolzoff, will you contact the American Ninja Warrior people to get on the show? They contacted me on a very preliminary basis. And I might piss them off by saying this, but I clearly would love to do the show. As all things go in life, there are real logistical, insurance, different network, all of those considerations. I don't have a lot of free time. But even if they wanted to just let me do the course and videotape it and air it on the show, I do that really well. Ryan Dice, how does it feel being one of the most loved heroes in DC? It's like a warm blanket. Brian Lloyd, if they could spin off any other character out of Arrow or Flash, who would you like it to be and why? Firestorm. You know why. Gabrielle Signor Lavoie wants to know, what was the process for the Arrow audition? Good question. I went in to see David Rappaport for what they call a producer session on a Tuesday. I went in, I read, the tape from the audition exists. I've seen it. I'm trying to get it. I had a really good read. David Nutter was in there and he directed our pilot. And he asked me, there was David Nutter, Jeff Johns was in the room, Andrew Kreisberg, Mark Guggenheim, David Rappaport. I think that was it. He asked me if I would mind waiting outside, which I did. I didn't. I mean, he could have asked me to stand on one foot for an hour and a half and I would have been fine with it. I went outside. I came back in. The room was filled with people. Greg Berlanti, most notably. And I did it again. We got to chatting for a second about the tone and the tenor of the show. I left, and my agent, who I was on the phone with, got a call immediately that we were going to do a deal for me to come in and screen test for the pilot, which is you do auditions, screen tests, generally at a studio level, then a network level, and then there it is. I came back before my studio test, which was Friday. I met with David Nutter. He assured me that I was his choice for the pilot and that he was going to take care of me. And he did. He walked me through the studio test where I got to meet Peter Roth and all the wonderful people from Warner Brothers. And then Peter Roth very graciously came to my network test for Mark Pedowitz and all the people at the CW, as did David Nutter. After that audition, he gave me a thumbs up and said, "See you in Vancouver," even though they hadn't offered me the job yet. And then, well, he also brought me in on like a Saturday to work with him. That's how awesome this man is. And then that was a Monday. My studio test was the Monday, 6 days later. And I got a call the following morning that I booked it. And then I took a nap. And that was pretty much it. Shannon Rice, were you a DC fan before getting the part? Absolutely. That's a long question. Oh, Derek Brown. Are you well, let's see. Derek Brown, Steven, would you help me ask my girlfriend to marry me with a vid? That's it, isn't it? Good luck, Derek Brown. Your profile picture seems to be a young kid facing away. It could possibly be Spider-Man, I'm not sure. Good luck. Hayden Delaney, favorite stunt you have ever done? And what type of stunt do you want to do that you have not done before? I don't know don't know what my favorite stunt is. I think the entire sequence in the pilot, only because of the way that my friends reacted to it. And by that sequence, I don't mean the training sequence. I mean the sequence where I kill two guys and then chase down a third guy, and there's parkour and there's neck breaking and there's awesome chair fighting. And I just remember watching that scene with my friends the first time that we watched the pilot, and seeing the way that they reacted will always be special to me. Later in that season, there was a big jump from one rooftop to another, and I'd really like to do one of those. If you saw any of my training videos from Tempest, I clearly like jumping from heights down to something else. And it'd just be a matter of getting it cleared insurance-wise, because it's not actually that dangerous. And it wouldn't really hurt. I do plenty of stunts that aren't dangerous and really hurt. I'd like to do that one because it's not that dangerous, doesn't hurt, and looks really cool. Emily Sutherland. Will Felicity ever find love? I hope so. Dave Bryce Nicholson, what's the most exciting thing you're ready for fans of Arrow to see for season 3? The trailer that we're showing at Comic-Con. Oh boy. And just Comic-Con in general is... I'm actually excited to see Grant Gustin experience it this year, because it's very similar to what I experienced in 2012, although people have met the Barry Allen character through our show. But I'm excited to see how it goes for him. And then coming back for a third year is exciting. I'm used to it. I'm doing some fun stuff. I mean, we've got our panel, which is going to be cool. I'm doing a fun podcast on Saturday morning. I'm doing Nerd HQ on Sunday morning. I'm hosting this amazing event that Warner Brothers and DC are putting on that is going to... I think it's going to be the best television-related panel event party in the history of San Diego Comic-Con. So to be hosting it is a real honor, and I was very thankful that they asked. Yeah. Ryan Asher Reynoso, will you be sporting the Green Arrow goatee at any point in season 3? Nope. Melissa Hewell, aside from Arrow, what other projects are in the pipeline for you? There are projects. I'm learning about the movie business, you see. I'm taking meetings on the movie business side. I had a couple of movies that I was going to do over hiatus, and then those movies evaporated, which apparently happens. I just wasn't maybe emotionally prepared for it too. No, I was fine. But there are other projects coming down the pipeline that have nothing to do with Arrow, by the way, that I'm really excited about. Akia Jamadi, what made you get into the wine business? I took a trip with my buddy to wine country, and we were like, this is awesome. How do we do this all the time? It's more or less how the conversation went. How can we do this all the time? Go. And that was May of 2012, but then Knocking Point was birthed in December of 2012, and then actually came into existence in terms of us having wine to offer in July of 2013, and now here we are a year later, and things are going really well. So there. There's one of those weird photos where it's Emily and I getting married. Brandon Parmley, when will clothing stores finally promote Arrow merchandise? I love the Arrow other heroes, but let's not kid ourselves. Arrow's the shit. Well, thank you, Brandon. I don't know. This is a cool poster. I know that we have action figures that came out, action figures that are coming out again. I see t-shirts all the time, but I'm not sure how official they are. They're awesome, but I can't officially say that. I hope so. I hope it happens soon. Yeah. Couple more. Ryan Schoon, how much crossover will we have between Arrow and The Flash? Well, like, official crossover, I don't know. But I go over to their set all the time and say hi because we have a lot of the same directors and I'm excited to see those people. And I like Grant and Jesse and Danielle and the entire team over there. As far as official crossover, I don't know. Although, ironic, Robbie Amell was up here the entire year shooting Tomorrow People, and I never went to his set, and he never came to mine. And when I showed up at my trailers today, he was like, "I'm here. Where are you?" I'm like, "What do you mean you're here?" He's like, "I'm here." He was here for a table read, so we got to catch up. Brian Lesima, will you grow a beard? Brian, come on. Mimi Johnson, last one here. Do you sometimes get attached to your character? Like, for instance, you think to yourself, is this something Arrow would do or say? Or even though it's acting, can you feel the character's pain or emotions as if they were your own? Not really the pain in an emotion stuff, but I still remember almost all the little details of basically every single episode of Arrow that we've shot. If you showed me a picture and gave me a minute, I could probably tell you the episode, the director, and what was going on at the time. I don't know when the queue in my brain will fill up and I won't be able to remember these things, but right now I am an encyclopedia when it comes to the show. So I do think about that stuff. Less from a would Oliver say this because the writing is always so on point with the show, and more of a does this fit into our continuity and does it make sense, and is it something that is going to buzz the fans the wrong way, viewers, fans, whatever you want to call yourselves, both viewers and fans. That's the main consideration that I have. Yeah. What else? What else is going on? This is really exciting. We are shooting our 48th episode of television, and I haven't really done a video since we started season 3, but I wanted to thank all of you and thank all the wonderful people that produce the show at every conceivable level. It always remains present in my mind how fortunate we are to be on our 3rd season, and it feels good to be back. It feels like home. I think you're gonna love the 3rd season of the show. We start literally with a bang, and you will see some of that stuff soon when Comic-Con rolls around. You'll see some of that stuff. Can't wait to show you. Thank you, Facebook. Sorry if I didn't look into the lens.